the thing that is most misunderstood about sports radio is its function. It's not that you're supposed to look. There are shifts, there are day parts where if you want to get into the minutia, if you want to talk about cycling and what they do on special teams and all the other things that go into it, all the details that go into being an NHL team, there are shifts for that. There are hours of that. That's not what a morning show does. That's what a morning show isn't supposed to. I'm supposed to call someone or bring the coach on who will explain those moves. I bring the general manager on. I can bring on one of the players. This is what hosting a morning show does. I'm hard-pressed to think that going to work for a job that you hate, for a boss who sucks, for you getting yelled at every day and maybe not getting the money that's worth it to you. Maybe you have a hard day where you're outside every day. Hey, there's a lot of people in Western Canada that listen to that show that weren't just from Calgary. They were also from Saskatchewan. And then, these guys would be out working the fields and so on. They wanted to get some laughs in with a little bit of the sports. So what you want to do is be an entertaining guy, and hopefully you have the chops to actually do that. And then on the other side, you call someone who can explain all those things better than I can, better than any probably morning guy can, because there's a reason why they're a morning guy, because they were probably, for the most part, in broadcast and maybe not a great athlete. Look, my background is weird. It's different. I played at a very high level of sports, but I also started doing stand-up when I was in grade 12. Freak and weird. I was a goalie and a drummer. All the weird stuff that goes into this brain where I hear the voices. I'm sitting there looking at a football game. All of a sudden, I hear Peyton Manning going, what he should have done. What he should have done was you got to pull that back. You got to make them read into when you're going to play action pass. You don't just run with it, dummy. That's not RPO. This is what goes on in his head. This is what I have going on.
I get it.
All kinds of stuff is going on there.
I don't even think it's weird.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
I was fascinated last week that Jerry was pounding Egg McMuffins like it was his job and dosing them with salt because he didn't care because he's 80.
How about that?
So what better, shrimp cocktail or Egg McMuffin? Don't waste our time. It's Egg McMuffin all day. And don't get me started about those puny little cocktail rings that you buy. They're disgusting. Egg McMuffin's good anywhere.
That's right. It's the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, thank you, Rick Regan. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. Hey, I'm smiling because I'm very excited about today. It starts with this wonderful show, your favorite on daytime television on Game Plus TV, radio in Atlanta, WQEE, and streaming. We got people writing in from far-flung places. And we've got Darren Moose DuPont joining us just in the nick of time. He said he's had a morning, but he's set up and you're indoors. Is it raining where you are, Moose? Did you have to reset up today, or what's your deal, dude? What's your deal?
I know. What's the deal? Yeah, it was raining a lot overnight. It's not raining currently. I'm just looking out the window, but moved indoors, and I'm ready to have some fun this morning. Let's just say that.
Well, the sound is great. Thanks for the weather report. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan, and we'll get down to business. I'm going to tell you right now, Director Jordan's probably going to end up being the rock star of the day, and I'll tell you why. There's a few reasons why I'm so happy about today's show. And as you know, every day I'm happy, but I'm really happy today, over the top. Because number one, the beautiful and talented, wherever she is, co-host Serena Taylor is going to be here. We've got Cam Moon coming on later today, the voice of the Edmonton Oilers. Please hold down the hissing and booing from the peanut gallery. Cam Moon's coming on. Good friend of mine, but she loves her some Cam Moon. And I said to Director Jordan this morning, hey, can we do a thing where you got me on one camera, Serena on another camera, and Cam on a third, and just rotate the two of us? Because she needs to ask some questions from Cam. And Jordan's like, da-da-da-da-da. We can do that. We've never done that before, Darren, just as you know. So he's the rock star of the day, Director Jordan. So give yourself a hand, Jordan. And then later on today... Yeah, buddy. Later on today, I'm meeting the great Perry S. Hockey, Perry Shockey, legendary NHL scout and junior hockey coach, and he wants to meet the golden girl, She's on a call right now, so we can call her that. She can't hear it. She doesn't like that nickname. He wants to meet her, and we're going to Rodney's Oyster Shack. I think that's what it's called. Rodney's Oyster Shack in downtown Calgary later on today. So two of my favorite people, I'm going to bring them together. So clearly I'm very happy. Can you hit the horn again, please, Director Jordan? And sorry, just to make sure that you're alive and awake. And thank you.
Hell yes.
Cooper Campbell, he's a football guy. He is written in. He's normally in Mississippi, but he says, I'm sitting on the beach in Aruba listening to the RP show. Thank you so much, Cooper. And there are a lot of comments coming in about the CFL game tonight, and there's a little bit of a hook to this, and we'll get to that. Just hold your bingo cards, everybody. And we got moves for 2 segments here in hour 1, so we don't need to rush. I'll just say George Springer, .1, homered in the first inning, and Kevin Gausman struck out 6 in a combined 6-hitter, helping the Toronto Blue Jays to a 1-0 victory over the Cleveland Guardians on Wednesday night. The Blue Jays remain in the third and final American League wildcard position, and they're back at it in a day game today. So the Jays went back to their hotel room last night in Cleveland, got a quick sleep, got up, they're going right back to the ballpark. Point 2, we're moving on to football, and I had a football guy, say to me, I love your show, especially when you talk about everything except the NFL. He goes, I love football. I love all the other things. You guys talked about the flag, USA football, Canadian University, CFL, XFL. And I said, well, we're still going to talk about the NFL. Not as much as the other channels and shows, but we're still going to talk about it because we're on the air in NFL markets. So, Darren, what you could basically say, I think, is week 1 of the NFL preseason opens tonight, because the Hall of Fame game is its own thing. There are 2 games tonight, and the reason I'm smiling is this. Houston's at New England in one on the East Coast, and Minnesota's at Seattle in the other. 2 games tonight. I went to Bet Regal's app to see if anybody is going to be a sucker and vote on NFL preseason games. And Bet Regal's like, no, we're not touching that, bro. They don't have odds on their app, but some do. So Houston's favored by 3.5 at New England tonight in NFL preseason play, and the Seahawks are favored by 3.5 at home against the Vikings. I just feel if you're betting on NFL football or any preseason football, you're us. I don't want to say a sucker, but you're asking for trouble. What do you think?
Sucker. Yeah, you're a sucker.
You said it. I didn't.
It's true. Like, you know, and I love it, and I'll bet on every NFL week all year long. But, you know, your team that you picked to win by 3 points is down by 3 points with 2 minutes to go. Are they really, you know, trying to pull out all the stops to win? Yeah, football teams are going to try and win games no matter what. But I'm interested in that New England Texans game, Houston Texans game. C.J. Stroud, I'm curious to see how much he'll play and what he looks like. I think that's a big storyline. Bryce Young in Carolina and C.J. Stroud in Houston. I really am curious to see how much he plays and how well he'll adapt to the NFL game.
There are things to watch for, but not necessarily things to watch. I'm really interested in the football. People will perk up. And trust me, we got a lot of hockey coming up. I mentioned Cam Moon, the voice of the Oilers, but in hour 2, the Hall of Fame voice of the Calgary Flames, Peter Maher, is going to be with us. So we'll get to the hockey talk. But I just wonder, man, it's the dog chasing its tail or the cat and mouse game of sports. The NFL owners and the business people want high ratings because they can charge more for advertising and hopefully sell more tickets, of course. They do make money that way. Yet the coaches are now not playing any veterans. We're seeing Doug Pedersen saying they're at the Cowboys, Jacksonville on Saturday night, and his vets aren't playing. The Hall of Fame game last week, the top 2 names, Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson, didn't play. So I'm sitting here going, now, why would I watch? And I'm talking to NFL people per se, not personnel people, but media people. They're like, yeah, I'm not even watching the preseason anymore. Do you see where I'm going, Moose?
Yeah.
They're hurting themselves by pulling the big names out of the preseason. They've already cut it from 4 games to 3. And I realize that it's not important. But I guess I got better things to do than sit and watch a glorified practice in the National Football League. Do you feel that way? I mean, you're following the Titans, and I'll be following the Cowboys. But the other 31 teams, probably not. Yeah.
I'm following training camp and the stories, no doubt, and I love watching Good Morning Football and the NFL Network all day. But sitting and watching the preseason games, I'm not that interested. I mean, I want to see how C.J. Stroud plays, and people will say, well, Houston's favored by 3.5 over New England. They're not better than New England. No, but you're right. Mac Jones probably isn't going to play, and there's all these different things, and it's just, you're not going to see a lot. It's not going to be that interesting. So, yeah, watch your team, but I'm probably not watching much more.
So what we've deduced on today's episode 1057 of the RP Show is it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay not to follow every snap of the NFL preseason. That's what we've learned, free of charge, 7 minutes into the show. Free advice today. Now, to what a lot of you came here for today, point 3, and it is the Canadian Football League. Week 10 kicks off tonight. And the poll question is simply this, like Winnipeg is at Edmonton tonight. Our poll question for Key Auto Group. And with the Key Auto Group, most vehicles receive a lifetime engine warranty guaranteed. Go to keyautogroup.ca, the Key Advantage, for eligibility and maintenance requirements. The Key Auto Group here to take care of you. The poll question is, does the Edmonton Elks losing streak end tonight? And I'll let the cat out of the bag. I voted no. I voted no. The losing streak does not end tonight, because not only do they have the chance because they're playing, but they're facing what I believe is the strongest team in the Canadian Football League, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who are 12.5 favorites, 12.5-point favorites going in on the road to Edmonton at our exclusive betting partner, Bet Regal. It's a no from me, dog. They don't win tonight.
Yeah, they're not winning tonight, unfortunately. I feel so bad, but maybe this is the game that they do win. Like what's it, you talk about what's it going to take for Edmonton to snap this streak? It's probably going to take beating, Goliath, right? And that would be Winnipeg. This is David Goliath. But no, they're not going to win. I don't know how I'm going to vote on this in Deal or No Deal, because I get a little shy when it comes to large point spreads, like 12.5 points. But no, if it's straight up, I'm taking Winnipeg.
Deal or No Deal is coming up in our next segment. And by the way, I want to tell you, download the Bet Regal app. It's just so easy. It's where I go every day for my betting lines, point spreads, that kind of thing. Download the app and get playing. We love them so much. From the audience. And by the way, here's the biggest breaking news of it all, y'all. Moose pulled the audience numbers. Can I tell them, Darren?
You can.
Obviously, I'm squirreling all over the place. I'm just seeing the locations here. Randy in Winnipeg says, good morning. I'm pumped for the NFL regular season. I like betting on it. I like watching. I like fantasy football. Ryan in Saratoga, New York says, like Moose, I probably won't watch the rest of the preseason games, but I'll pay attention to what happens at practice and also watch Hard Knocks. And High Explosive, that's the account in Edmonton, says he's bet on the Elks tonight. He says his $50 will pay $300. Gotcha. So they're all over the place watching today, but the Queen City is still the #1 city, Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, for viewership of the RP Show. Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, where I've spent the majority of my life. Still back on top, #1. #2, Ottawa. #3, Winnipeg. #4, Calgary. And #5, Toronto. So that's the cities for viewership: Regina, Ottawa, Winnipeg, Calgary, Toronto. I feel like we hear from, for sure, the Winnipeg people the most. We hear from a lot of the Edmonton people, but they didn't even show up in the top 5. So, yeah, I'm just throwing that out there. John Ohm is alive and awake. John Ohm, he says the only chance the Elks win, and I mean only chance, is if Zach Collaros gets injured early in the game. Don't even put that out there, John. Don't put that out into the universe for Zach. For his sake, we don't want that to happen. No. Rephrase it this way. The only way Edmonton wins tonight is if Winnipeg Blue Bombers get lost on their way to the stadium. How about that? Yeah. That way nobody gets hurt, except for maybe the bus driver. Do we have time for a quick bus driver story?
Yeah, I love them.
I love this one. I could do a whole sports banquet on just bus driver stories. So we were driving Regina to Saskatoon. Moose, you've done these junior hockey roadies. And we're around Chamberlain. We're around Chamberlain. For those that don't know, it's 45 miles northwest of Regina. And the bussy, which they hate being called, by the way, I would not advocate you call a bus driver bussy. The bussy is he's looking over his shoulder like every couple of minutes. And we're like, what? Something's on his mind. You know what I mean? And if you want names, Bob Lowe's is our head coach right here. Drew Callender is assistant coach right behind Bobby, and Chad Mercier is right behind the bussy. And I'm right behind Chad. And finally, if you know Lowe's, he's like, what? And the bus driver goes, we are going to Saskatoon, right? Lowe's said, well, yeah, where do you think we're going?
I like it.
And he goes, well, we're going to get there by 5. The game's at 7. Do you guys want to stop by the mall or something? Lowe's is like, just get us to the rink. And then, of course, Drew leans over to me, and he's like, can you believe this guy? And I said, not only that, I said, what about the mental turmoil he was going through before he asked the question? He was so, should I? You're going to be there 2 hours early. Like, what? Anyways, moving back in.
But it's a new driver,
Bus drivers.
right? He would have been your first time with the team. And like we had a guy in Kindersley did the same thing. You know, you have your regular bus driver. He dresses the part. He'll either wear a suit or he'll wear a tie or he'll wear, nice golf shirt and fit in with the team. We had a substitute bus driver show up with one of those, they call it a beanie, the toques over the eyes, cargo shorts and a T-shirt. And the coach is like, if you're driving us, you have to go change. You're not driving us wearing that. Made him go change.
We had one guy that he stopped every couple hours to go check the tires, kick the tires, and have a dart. And honestly,
tires.
I don't want to say the coach's name, but his initials were Curtis Hunt. And finally, after like the 4th time on the Yellowhead, kicking the tires. Huntsy gets off the bus, goes out there and says, you stop one more time, I'm going to take that tie off and choke you with it. Let's go. And do not ever get me started on Chris Jones. We were busing with the riders from Ottawa to Toronto, and these guys stopped halfway, and I don't know where that is. At Kingston? I wasn't really paying attention. I was riding in the back of the bus. And they stopped, and they will have a coffee and a croissant. They were French drivers, and Jones is just, steam's coming off him. We got to get there before rush hour in Toronto. It's going to take 2 more hours to get to the hotel, and finally he goes out there. Did I ever tell you this story on the air? And the coaches had they were filming it, taking pictures up against the glass of the bus because Jones is losing it on these bus drivers. Basically, he's like, you had 3 hours to visit at the field before we left. You got to visit now. And his hands are flying. He knocked this guy's croissant out of his hand accidentally. Oh, my God. Bus driver stories, man. I could do a
Bus drivers are the best.
There's a special spot in heaven for bus drivers, especially of sports teams. By the way, our CFL coverage is brought to you in part by Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beer. Check them out at sobercarpenter.com. We've reached the midway point of the warm-up and the quick 6. We're going to take a break, come back, and play CFL Deal or No Deal, talk about some NHL stuff. We're going to get heavy into the Battle of Alberta today. Oilers voice Cam Moon coming up, and the Hall of Fame voice of the Calgary Flames, Peter Maher. Yeah, baby. We'll be right back to Century Downs Racetrack and Casino after this time out on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, we're back at it live from Century Downs Racetrack and Casino. On the way, Cam Moon of the Oilers and Hall of Fame Flames voice Peter Maher. Before we jump into CFL Deal or No Deal for our exclusive betting partner, Bet Regal. And in fact, yes, I do have the Bet Regal robe on. Let's bring in the Moose from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. They enjoyed the bus driver stories. James in Borden, Manitoba says, my tour bus driver in Jamaica was so drunk that halfway through the tour, the passengers refused to get back on the bus. Can you? How about that? John Ohm in Winnipeg says, who was the last NHL champion to repeat the next year? Edmonton? I'll say Tampa Bay Lightning for 200, please, Alex.
Yeah, that's a.
By the way, been watching a lot of game shows lately. I said to the Golden Girl, I quite enjoy when we're together because I'm watching less sports network stuff and more fun things. That Pat Sajak has not aged today a day. She says he's had a lot of work done. I said, who cares? He looks great. Hey, from Ryan O Radio. Say what? Were you going to say something? Go ahead.
No, he does. He looks like $1 million.
Looks like $1 million. Probably paid $1 million, but who cares? He's worth $75 million. I looked it up. From Ryan O Radio in Atlanta, he says, hey, it's King Rod. Yes. We're going to get to the CFL Deal or No Deal in a second. I'm just having so much fun with our viewers here today from Argo Fluffy in Toronto. For whatever reason, not sure. He says it takes 45 minutes to get to BMO Field and 2 hours to drive there. I'm sure there was a reason. If that was a bus story or something like that, I'm not sure. Don, Navy Don in Ottawa, maybe part of the reason why our second highest city for viewership is now Ottawa, of all things. Saw a picture today of Kenny the Snake Stabler and Bum Phillips when they were with Houston. I miss those sorts of characters in today's sports landscape. Today's sports figures are no better than robots. Yeah, well, you always got us. Yeah, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Sorry, the players aren't that interesting, but we sure are.
Yeah.
The EMJ marketing text line is open. Bradley in Calgary wants to know, hey, Moose, could you find a bigger mic? Do you want to explain where you got that thing?
Could it be any bigger? The reason it looks so huge today is because it's just the way how close it is to the camera on the setup. It's normally not that big. It'd look like a normal size mic if I backed it up here a little bit, but I got it up on the table.
Yeah.
So
you're good.
Deal.
EMJ Marketing brings you our text line 902-518-3033. Providing the right keynote speaker for your event, contact Joe at emjmarketing.com today. He is my speaker representative, and we do quite well together. I'm not done yet. We're going to come around to Deal or No Deal. Trust me. But it is CFL Game Day. The viewers have some comments and questions on the game tonight. Daryl in Edmonton, Sherwood Park, actually writes in. He says, I'm confident that Trey Ford will get it done now that we don't have the Macadont offense. And he says, I bet $50 on the Elks money line, too. John in Rosetown writes in and says, Trey Ford will have to be magic to just have the Elks cover the spread. Elks woes continue. So they're not that confident in the Elks. But what about Trey Ford? You're the university football play-by-play guy. Is he going to? He doesn't need to be the next great thing. He just needs to win tonight. Do you think he can make it happen?
I don't think he can win tonight. I think Winnipeg's too good. And this is a tough spot to put him in, I mean, against Winnipeg. Because if he doesn't play well, and he's not expected to play well against Winnipeg, then do you go back to him? And what does that do for confidence? But this team's in such a bad spot, you got to try everything. And I think Trey Ford has earned this shot. He played decent enough last year before the injury. He's got the athleticism. He can do things with his legs. When Edmonton uses the quarterback to run the football and getting mobile and active, they've had some success. Even when Taylor Cornelius runs the football, he had success. So can keep this Winnipeg defense off balance. I'm excited for Trey Ford.
Well, we'll get to all the games betting lines in a moment. This is a tough one. When you tread the line, and I have my whole career, 35 years, going back and forth between the media and the team personnel, it's hard to criticize them because they're your friends, if you know what I'm saying. And I didn't realize till I left the Rough Riders that most of the media does not talk with the coaches and players the degree that I do, and you do a lot too. I'd like to think you might have learned a little bit of that from me, but you're also your own man and you've learned it yourself too. And what I mean by that is there are people with the Elks that have messaged me. They don't like things that have been said on this show. And I'm not necessarily saying that it's by me or by you or any of our analysts, but they're upset. And I'm like, guys, I got a job to do. We got a job to do. It's to cover this team. You haven't won a game. Maybe go win a game. Because, it's no different now than it was 35 years ago when I first got in this perilous trade. People are thin-skinned. They don't like having it talked about, Darren. And I'm sorry. But don't come at me. How do you feel about that?
I know. When times are tough, you don't want people to bring up all the negative things that are going on. But unfortunately, If you don't want people to talk about negative things, stop doing negative things, or make the outlook more positive. And that is tough. You got to turn your phone off, the social media off. So you got to close, back in the day, the newspapers, all of it. You can't look at it when you're going through this. You just can't. You have to understand it. You have to address it head on. But you got to understand when you're losing games, and Edmonton's lost their fair share of them. It's going to be really hard to be that positive. You can only spin it so many ways. And so I feel like, for us, I feel like, we've been fair and honest. I don't think we've been disrespectful. And that, for me, is really important.
No.
If we're going to be critical, and if we're going to even have some fun and joke around with teams that are going through something, I try and make sure it's fun, fair, but not disrespectful. And I think we do a good job of that.
From High Explosive writes, and he says, "Who is the Elks crybaby, RP?" I'm not saying who it is, and they're going through a tough time. This person is not a crybaby, not at all. But it's not new. It's tough when all the players and coaches and management and PR people and marketing people, they all got my number from every team. Right, so it's very easy to reach out to me and make their thoughts. I spend a lifetime being accessible. It comes both good and bad ways. By the way, Allie has checked in from Texarkana. She's here for the hockey talk. That's coming up. The voice of the Oilers next segment, and Peter Maher, the Hall of Fame voice of the Flames, after that. From Bombers 1985, watching in Winnipeg, says, exactly, you don't like being called a loser? Win. Well, nobody was upset about being called a loser. Don't take this and run with it. As Jones would say, don't get it twisted now. We're upset with some of the things being said on this show, and I'm not saying by whom nor who said it. Just telling you. The pressure's hot there. Do you people not understand that? Ireland Bruce III writes in, the Hall of Famer in waiting from the Canadian Football League, former NFLer and CFL receiver. He says, great morning, RP and Moose. I'll be heading to the Legends game Saturday at BC Place. I think Jake Maher throws for over 300-plus yards. And a tie. Take the over, says Ireland Bruce III. Well, okay, AB. You shamed me into it. Hang on, let me get my stopwatch out. Okay, Moose, here we go. It's time for CFL Deal or No Deal for our exclusive betting partner, Bet Regal. And Week 10 kicks off Thursday night with the Edmonton Elks home to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. As we mentioned earlier, the Bombers are favored by 12.5. Moose, are you taking that deal at Bet Regal? Winnipeg by 12.5 at Edmonton.
After thinking long and hard about it, I'm going to say no deal. I think Trey Ford can keep it close enough.
Friday Night Football, the game of the week as far as I'm concerned. The Saskatchewan Roughriders at the Montreal Alouettes. Montreal favored by 5.5. And by the way, I'm taking the deal on the earlier game. This deal, 5.5 Alouettes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, baby. Touche. Viva Montreal. I'm taking the bet. How about you?
This is another close one. They're really good with these lines this week. You know what? I'm with you. I'm going to take the bet. I think Montreal will cover. I think they're trending up. So are the Riders, but Montreal.
Saturday night, Calgary at BC. We'll be at the Stampeders watch party at Shark Club, Deerfoot Meadows. Thank you. We've been personally invited to go. Lions favored by 6.5 at home. Are you taking the bet?
I'll take the bet. That home atmosphere is amazing, and I think Vernon Adams is back. Give me a deal.
I'm not taking the bet. That's a no from me, dog. I got the Stampeders to win it outright. And finally, Ottawa at Toronto. We got to speed it up on Sunday. Argos favored by 8. Deal or no deal?
No deal. No deal. They won't cover. But they'll win.
That was easy. So Toronto will win, but 8 by less than 8. I will take the deal. Sign up and get playing today. Download the app from Bet Regal, our exclusive betting partner. Okay, Moose, we got a few minutes left in this segment. Saying it again, EMJ Marketing text line is open for business, 902-518-3033. Kirk, watching on Game Plus TV, says, hi, Rod, it's Kirk in Toronto. The RP show may be 5th here in the Big Smoke, but you're number 1 in my view. Great show as always. Oh, and by the way, will you have Dylan Wynn on? We're not 5th in Toronto. we're number 1 in Toronto. Toronto's number 5 for us for viewership. Let's just point that out. And number 2, Dylan Wynn of the Ticats. We had a connection issue there yesterday, so I'd like to get him on. Defensive tackle of the Ticats. They're on a bye, right? They're not playing. I guess you're not out in Toronto. You're at the Canadian Little League out here on the prairies in Saskatchewan. So I just can't imagine what's going on in Hamilton right now. They fired the offensive coordinator. That would have been a tough interview to do with Dylan Wynn. That was the tech gods that interrupted that interview, I think, with Dylan Wynn yesterday. Because I didn't really know what to ask the kid when the team's struggling like that.
I know, it's tough. They are. And, you hope that coming out of the bye week, a little bit of offensive philosophy change. Maybe this helps get, this offense going. And Bo Levi, if he can get healthy and really stay healthy, get him going on the right page. And so you hope that this can turn the corner for Hamilton a little bit coming out of the bye. But it's got to be stressful because you see, I don't know how much is going on around Hamilton. I'm not spending a lot of time in the community, but how much, the Grey Cup is being talked about and the planning is underway and set up and all that kind of stuff. It's got to be a lot of pressure. So they need to do something, and here's hoping the bye week was good for them.
A quick one from Bombers 1985 in Winnipeg watching says, deal if Chad Kelly is starting. From Argo Fluffy, he says the Argos are banged up. I'm scared. From the Barflies at Winnipeg, says it depends on which VA shows up for the Leos. Vernon Adams. From Jeff, the Stamps fan, he says the summer ball is over for BC. Kevin, the medium's car has turned back into a pumpkin. Actually, I think it's more of a lemon. And Ted and Red Deer, if you can answer this in 30 seconds or less, Moose, are you still doing college football games now that you're in Toronto?
Absolutely. I wouldn't miss it. I've got the contract and I've got my schedule. So my first week I'll be in Winnipeg.
How about that? Number 2 city for RPShow viewership. There you go. Moose, we're going to let you run. I believe you're done for the day. So thank you. And we'll chat with you tomorrow.
Thanks, guys. You bet.
We're going to talk some Edmonton Oilers hockey when we come back with the radio voice of the Oil from 6:30. Chad, Cam Moon, and Serena will join us to help out with that interview. We're live from Century Downs Racetrack and Casino in Calgary on the Game Plus Television Network, Channel 924 on TELUS Optic TV and Alberta NBC, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
Century Downs Racetrack and Casino presents the World Professional Chuck Wagon Association Finals. Be here when the wagons roll August 23rd to 27th. Single-day tickets and 5-day passes available at showpass.com. Century Downs, welcome to the winner's zone.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
We're live from Century Downs Racetrack and Casino in Calgary. Very excited about this interview. And Serena Taylor joins us. She'll be jumping on later on in the interview. She'll be asking the next question of our next guest, Oilers radio broadcaster Cam Moon from 630 CHED. Let's bring him in from the 780. Cam, great to see you, man. Big fans here, as you know, and I got to say something. Is this a Saskatchewan thing? Because when we promoted you were coming on, first guy jumps in, Corey Gibbons. Former Nipawin Hawk. Does that happen every time? Your name? Yeah, exactly. Comes on all the time.
I love it. The tradition and history of the Nipawin Hawks in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League is, as you know, long and historic, and it's a wonderful franchise. And I'm very proud to have said that I was able to play there.
Cam, I am super excited. We haven't chatted since we were in Edmonton last year for the World Juniors. It was so fun. But obviously, you know what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Oilers. Of course. And of course, the big thing going around right now is everybody's kind of beat this to death, but I want to hear your opinion about this. Are the Oilers going to sign Leon and Connor long term?
Well, I think the likelihood of it is good. That's still down the road. So, I mean, so many different things can happen. There's so many different variables. But with Jeff Jackson coming in as CEO that was announced last week, I don't think that has hurt the opportunity of that. And quite honestly, I think the only way those two are able to play together is in Edmonton. I just can't see it happening anywhere else. And they are part of a close-knit group within the team. So I think that's how they would like to continue moving forward. Of course, the dollars and cents have to add up for everybody, and that's still down the road and a little ways down the road anyway. So I think it's going to happen. But again, there are so many different things that can go on between now and then. I'm not going to say you can take that to the bank because there's just too many variables. But if you were to ask me right now, this far out, and you're still another year out from when you could sign Leon Draisaitl to an extension, I would say it's more likely than not.
Cam, of the Oilers news this week, it was that Brandon Sutter has signed. And I kind of thought of you immediately because you called his junior games. You're so close with the family, and now you're calling the Oilers games. I'm sure you have a take on Brandon getting this tryout with the Oil.
Yeah, well, it's from the team's point of view, I think it's outstanding because it's you have nothing to lose. It's just a PTO. And I think from Brandon's point of view, it's really good also in that he hasn't played for a couple of seasons and needs looking for an opportunity to get back into the NHL, and will have to prove himself through training camp and through the preseason. But he has been training all the way through. There's one thing Brandon Sutter is always going to be, and that's in really good shape because that's just the way he is. But I know he was skating with the Rebels last season, in the last half of last season. He's skating with a group of pro, junior, and college players in central Alberta, over the course of this summer. And I was able to watch a few of those sessions a couple of weeks ago. And he thinks he's ready to go. And that's great news for a guy that has missed the last couple of years. That's tremendous, quite honestly. So I'm happy for him. I hope it works out. And honestly, I think he brings something that the Oilers could use, and that's a guy that could find a role, I think, on the fourth line in the middle as a right shot, and a great penalty killer, an incredibly intelligent player that has all the experience that he does so far in the National Hockey League. And quite honestly, that part's all great, but what he also brings, and I think is just as important, is that veteran presence. He's a smart player. He's a good guy in the dressing room, and he works incredibly hard. So I think he would fit in really well with the group in Edmonton. So I hope it works out. Selfishly, I would love to see another former Red Deer Rebel on the team. He could get in there with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. So I think that's outstanding. A lot of Western Hockey League flavor with the Oilers, as there was with the Vegas Golden Knights this past season. And it was a great series between the two this past spring. But I like seeing WHL grads do well, and Brandon Sutter's one of those.
I agree. It doesn't hurt to have a Sutter on your team anywhere, in my opinion. But it's kind of interesting what you said about bringing people in to make it more effective for the Oilers. One of the things Rod and I talked about last week on the show was this. He asked me if I feel like the Oilers have been doing enough over the last couple of years to make their team stronger. I want to hear your opinion on what they've been doing to make it stronger, and where there could be room for improvement.
Well, I think like last year, definitely at the trading deadline, it was quite obvious they made their team better. I mean, Matthias Ekholm comes in, and the team's goals against from that time to the end of the year, I believe, was 9th in the NHL. So that made a significant difference. Nick Bjugstad came in and I thought filled a role. In fact, he was so good last year that he kind of priced himself out of Edmonton, as the Oilers just don't have a ton of cap space to deal with. And what they have left still is up in the air until the Evan Bouchard RFA deal gets done, and it's expected it will get done. It's probably going to be somewhere between 3.8 and 4, so that will let the Oilers know what they have left to deal with at that point. But do I think they gave themselves an opportunity to improve last year? I think they absolutely did. And having a full season of Matthias Ekholm will make a significant difference. I don't know that this summer, with the exception of a very creative Connor Brown contract, in that it's a very small contract with a lot of bonuses, which means those bonuses are going to roll over to next year as far as the cap is concerned. But a creative way to add a top 6 forward, albeit coming off an injury. So it remains to be seen where he's at, although, as I understand, everybody tells me he's good to go and should be impactful. And I would think he will be impactful. So I think the team has improved, and they're always looking to do whatever you can. But when you're up against the cap, as the Oilers are, and as the Oilers will be going into the regular season, we'll see if they start with 21 or 22 on their roster. I think it's highly unlikely they start with 23. Last year they started with 21 because of the cap constraints. So I guess that will remain to be seen what that is as far as the number goes. But I think they've improved themselves. I think the Connor Brown addition, the fact that he played junior with Connor McDavid, and they were very good together, and I think that's going to help too. So, yeah, I think they've improved themselves. I quite honestly, I think Jack Campbell is going to have a bounce back year, and that in itself is going to improve the team. Stuart Skinner had an outstanding rookie season in goal for the Oilers. Some bumps along the way in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but he's not going to be the first rookie NHL goaltender to have some bumps in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I think that can absolutely be be excused. But yeah, I think that's going to help too. In fact, the Oilers need that. They need two goaltenders. It needs to be a very active competition for ice time. And last year was a bit up and down. There was times where, Jack Campbell had a string there where he won 8 or 9 in a row. And of course, Stuart Skinner had that great run at the end of the season. The whole team did, quite honestly, going into the playoffs. I think they're better. And I can't wait till this gets going to see how much better and how the whole thing shakes out.
Okay, and Monty from Saskatoon has pointed out, and ex-Saskatoon Blades goalie, we had to get that in there, Cam Chef. And fortunately for you, we've run out of time. I'll just ask you yes or no. The poll question for Key Auto Group, does the Elks' 21-game home losing streak end tonight? A yes or no from you, sir. I am assuming you're still a season ticket holder of the green and gold.
I am. I'll be there tonight. I'm hoping this is the one where they break it, but ultimately I doubt it.
Okay. Thank you, buddy. Enjoy the game. Have a great season.
Okay. Thank you.
The wonderful and talented Cam Moon, the radio voice of the Edmonton Oilers. Serena will join us next hour to talk about your comments that are coming in and what Cam had to say. We've got a sports update coming up next, an audience takeover. We're live from Century Downs Racetrack and Casino on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RPShow gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RPShow gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers, Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Back for the always popular mini overtime. This is like, I don't want to call it the intermission. That's coming up in 4 minutes' time. Audience takeover in a second. And we got some smoking comments have come in on the EMJ marketing text line, so just hang on. But a sports update. You know, we love the Canadian Elite Basketball League a lot. And last night they handed out their year-end awards at the Sky Hangar in Pitt Meadows, British Columbia, in advance of the National Championship weekend. It's like the Memorial Cup, but for basketball and pro. Winnipeg Seabears guard Teddy Allen took home top honors as the 2023 MVP of the Canadian Elite Basketball League, while Cadre Gray of the Ottawa Blackjacks was named the Canadian Player of the Year. The other award winners were Coach of the Year, Winnipeg Seabears head coach Mike Taylor, the Sixth Man of the Year, Jelani Watson-Gale of Winnipeg. The U Sports Player of the Year was Simon Hildebrandt, also of Winnipeg. This is like a Winnipeg cleanup. What do they think this is, the CFL? The Defensive Player of the Year, Khalil Ahmad of the Niagara River Lions, and he also won the Clutch Player of the Year. Follow the CEBL social media channels this weekend for results of their championship. It's going on out there in Langley, BC. This sports update is for Landmark Cinemas, in theaters now. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem in Landmark Cinemas now. Hey, today's your last chance to enter to win a movie night out at Landmark Cinemas for movie lovers only. All you got to do is text MOVIES right now to 902-518-3033 to be entered. Put in the name of the movie you'd like to see at Landmark Cinemas. Go to landmarkcinemas.com, check the movies, and put in what you'd like to go to, and then enter our contest. It's that simple. So from the text line, Jim in Balgony, Sask, glad you asked. Oh, can we get our office crew on this one at the RP show? Jim says two things. Number one, he says, I hope Cody destroys the Riders. Sorry, not sorry. The Riders will feel shame. That's from Jim. And Jim says, I was anointed the winner last week of the Landmark gift pack. How do I claim that? So can we get on that, crew? Oh, yeah, I'm aware. I'm just putting it out there. As my former news director used to say, Greg Bonnet, I'm just running it up the flagpole to see who salutes. Ba-ba-boo. Rick in Martinsville writes in and says, some of us have lived through the Eskimos' dominant years and all the hype that it brought. We also lived through 4 Grey Cups in a lifetime in Sask and all the jokes that come with that. I hope Edmonton turns it around. Competitive league helps everyone. If I can translate that, you're saying you don't feel sorry for Edmonton. And I get that. Sure. If you didn't know those guys personally, I'm trying to think of other really bad teams, like the Houston Texans. I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel bad. Well, I got a friend on the staff, Danny Barrett. Personal choice. You do you, I'll do me. I get it. Peter Maher, next hour, Hall of Fame Calgary Flames broadcaster and our hockey analyst, Serena Taylor. It's going to be big fun. A lot of hockey talk coming up. And we'll look at tonight's football slate as well. When we come back after this brief pause on Game Plus, Key Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
I was fascinated last week that Jerry was pounding Egg McMuffins like it was his job and dousing them with salt because he didn't care because he's 80.
How about that?
So what better, shrimp cocktail or Egg McMuffin? Don't waste our time. It's Egg McMuffin all day. And don't get me started about those puny little cocktail rings that you buy. They're disgusting. Egg McMuffin's good anywhere.
That's right.
It's the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it is. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hour 2 of the RP Show. Coming at you live from Century Downs Racetrack and Casino in Calgary. And this should be a very interesting segment as we set sail on Hour 2 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. I'll tell you again, we're on Game Plus Television. That's available all across Alberta and BC on TELUS Channel 924. We're live across all 10 provinces every day and then replayed at night, 10 p.m. Pacific. Midnight Central. So if you're joining us in the middle of the night, what are you doing up? Get to bed. We're expecting to be joined in moments by the Hall of Fame voice of the Calgary Flames, Peter Maher. He knows it, but I'll say it again. A mentor of mine in this industry, this perilous trade. But Clark is telling me we're having connection issues. Back-to-back days where we've got a guest having an issue. So for now, it looks like it's just you and me. Next segment, Serena Taylor will join us to piggyback on some of her comments from last hour and look ahead to the weekend in sports because it's already Thursday. Where's the time going? Troy in Toronto has written in. Thank you, Troy Calmer. He says, hey, everyone, did I miss anything? I'm glad you asked. Let me recap what we covered in Hour 1. Our live guest was Cam Moon, the radio voice of the Edmonton Oilers. I brought on Serena Dawn for that interview because she's the biggest Oiler fan in the house, and she wanted to know if the Oilers are going to be able to sign Neon Leon and Connor long-term, and Cam said, too early to tell, but the signs are promising. And he smiled through the entire interview, which tells you things are good with the Edmonton Oilers. And to be honest, that's why I want to talk to Peter Maher. Getting him on here because there's optimism around the Flames with the changes, but not complete universal optimism like you're seeing up Highway 2 in Edmonton. But other things, the Blue Jays won 1-0 at Cleveland. So that was Wednesday night. They lead the series 2-1. And Game 4 is a matinee today in Cleveland. NFL tonight we talked about, Troy. I feel like I'm talking just to you here on Game Plus TV. There are 2 NFL preseason games tonight. Debated that with the Moose. Bet Regal's like, we're not even touching a point spread for these games tonight. Thanks, Clark. I went to the Bet Regal app. They're like, no. There are betting lines, though. Houston's favored by 3.5 at New England, and the Seahawks are favored by 3.5 at home to Minnesota. I did some very rudimentary reading up on these games tonight. But, I mean, yeah, Minnesota. Was it true Minnesota had the 31st ranked defense overall in the National Football League last year? 31st? Is that right? That's what I read. But they're not going to fix it tonight at Seattle in a really meaningless preseason game. And hold on to your bingo cards. We'll get to the CFL talk. Just hang on, folks. We will get to it. And we played Deal or No Deal last hour, too. But there's an interesting sort of thing unfolding in all sports, but particularly the National Football League. I was like you. I got hooked by the hype of the NFL Network, NFL Radio, the endless ad nauseum marketing of the NFL. I got hooked on the preseason, and it was just the last couple of years where I'm like, these games are awful. The stars aren't playing. Why am I watching? And now the more time that I spend in the States, they're not watching it. They're watching their own team. Dolphins fans will watch with Miami what they're doing. And I went to the preseason game last year. That was awesome at Hard Rock Stadium. Remember the first play? Tua, 75 yards to Tyreek Hill. Thump. Against the Eagles. So, yeah, you're watching your own team, but you're not. We're giving you permission to not watch the other teams in the National Football League because the stars aren't playing anyways. And what's going to happen when the ratings fall and if they care about ticket sales anymore in the NFL when that falls? Will they care? Kind of checking out on the NFL preseason, but maybe that's just a me thing. Maybe you people were always checked out on the NFL preseason. I'm not sure. Thank you. Troy in Toronto says, I like the top of the hour review for us who sometimes get caught working and can't get online by 12 Eastern every day. Thank you for that, Rod. Well, you know what? I do have a bit of a clue what I'm doing. I know there are people that don't believe that. But I do. And before we jump down the more of the sports, I told you I could do this on my own if we wanted to. Like, I could. You know our guy Kevin, the medium. He's down here almost every day, but he couldn't come down here today. And he was like, do you need me today? And I'm like, we're good. This goes back to my radio days. I tell you what, I got to be on the air no matter what. So if you want to come down, great. If you can't, that's fine too. I'll be here. Moose, I asked him to pull the analytics for viewership. TV people will get more out of this, the lingo, than the viewers and listeners. But over the last month, the #1 city for viewership, for total viewership, is Regina, Saskatchewan, the Queen City. You got a sound effect for that, Clark? Ta-da! How about that? That's good, too.
Right on.
No, right on. Okay, get a sound effect for every one of these. #1, Regina. #2, Ottawa.
LFG.
#3, Winnipeg, the Slurpee capital. #4, Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
It's hot.
Giddy up. And #5, Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Spicy.
That's the top 5 cities for overall viewership. But the people that watch the most, it changes a little. For the longer length of time, Regina 1, Calgary 2, Winnipeg 3, Edmonton 4, Toronto 5.
Hoorah!
So Edmonton's watching longer. I don't even know what this means. Max writes in, his name is Max Raven. He says, RP does RP better than anyone I know. I'll take that as a compliment. I do want to tell you, because we're gonna jump into the CFL talk right now. Week 10 kicks off tonight, and I'm just going to refresh the EMJ Marketing text line. EMJ Marketing, providing the right keynote speaker for your event. Contact Joe at emjmarketing.com today. We played Deal or No Deal last hour. Moose and I looked at the betting lines for all Week 10 games at Bet Regal and decided whether we were going to take the bet or not. You'd have to rewind it if you're a big CFL fan for that. I'm almost at a point now that if we don't have Peter Maher lined up, we're out of time for today. Let's get him down here live over the next couple of weeks, which is another thing. I'm only here till August 25th, and then I'm heading back to Florida. And it's like, if you really want to think about it, this is our second year, going into third year in Calgary, and it's just finally happened that people are, hey, Rod, where are we? The mall, the gas station, obviously the sporting facilities. Hey, Rod, watch the show. Hey, Rod, love the show. Hey, Rod, can you do this event with us? Can you do that? It's taken 2 years. And what I'm getting the most is, you're a pretty good guy. We hated you when you were in Saskatchewan, but you're really genuine about this. Calgary thing. Alberta. Yes, I am. Told you that. Our CFL coverage is brought to you in part by Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beer. Check them out at sobercarpenter.com. So we'll refresh. Darren Moose DuPont brought some pretty good commentary to tonight's game. Winnipeg is at Edmonton to open Week 10. Now's a pretty good time to bring up the poll question, ain't it, boys? For Key Auto Group. At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed with your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. And I'm interested to get the result because I haven't looked here for a while. Clark, can you find it on YouTube? And I'm going to find what the vote is on Twitter. The poll question is, will the Edmonton Elks, will their losing streak end tonight? What do you got? 82% saying that's a hard no, dog, on YouTube, and 79% on Twitter saying no, Edmonton's losing streak does not end tonight. 79%. We got into the nuts and the bolts last hour with Darren about this Trey Ford that starts tonight. And we had fans of other teams writing in saying that they don't feel sorry for the Elks. I'm not asking you if you feel sorry for. Kind of comes down to, do you have empathy as a human being or do you not? Sympathy is feeling bad for somebody. Empathy is putting yourself in somebody's shoes, how they feel. I've been there with terrible teams. It's awful. And I also don't mind saying it's not a big deal that I had members of that organization writing me upset with things that have been said on this show about them. I'm not saying whether it was said by me or by Darren or any of our analysts. They just weren't happy. And I'm like, I'm sorry you feel that way, bro, but you're 0-8. And that's the sucky thing about sports. It's also 11-11 Mountain, 1-11 Eastern. So if you're seeing that in your life, it's a good sign. But I don't know that it's a good sign for the Edmonton Elks tonight. We'll be watching. The point spread is Winnipeg 12.5 at Edmonton. And Moose said he's not taking the deal. I'm sorry to say I am. I think Winnipeg's going to go into Edmonton and mollywop them. Edmonton's going to be on the bottom until they give us a reason not to be on the bottom. In projections, point spreads, and being a laughingstock, man. I'm sorry. You got to win. John in Rosetown. Regarding Canada's game of the week, what I feel, Sask at Montreal Friday night. Alouettes favored by 5.5. John says William Stanback is out versus the Riders, and Cody Fajardo's a game-time decision with a banged-up, non-throwing shoulder. That could change things Friday night. Yeah, I agree. And where was this from Jim and Balgoni? Just to read that text earlier, he said, he goes, I hope Cody and the Alouettes destroy the Riders. Sorry, not sorry. Listen, you can go into there's something interesting about every game. We're going to be at the Shark Club, Deerfoot Meadows, Saturday. Note the early start time, 5 p.m. 4 p.m. in Vancouver. That's the kickoff time, Pacific, 5 p.m. Mountain. We were personally invited by Shark Club Deerfoot Meadows to be at that watch party. Come on down. I couldn't believe the amount and the value of the swag the Calgary Stampeders were giving away at that party last week for their watch party. I'm like, you're giving away a jersey every quarter? I'm not saying that's what they're going to do this Saturday, but they probably will. They did last party. I'm trying to get that comment here from Jim and Balgoni, but I can't find it. That's fine. Anyways, Alouettes favored by 5.5. Moose says he's not taking the deal. I said I am. And don't forget, it's not just about Fajardo. And man, on TSN Sports Center, did they ever hit the nail on the head? They were like, Cody Fajardo was kicked to the curb by the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the offseason. I'm like, whoa, touchy. But he was. That BC game Saturday night, under the dome, Lions favored by 6.5. I said I'm not taking the deal. I'm taking Calgary to win outright. They're on a bit of a roll. They're coming off beating the best team in the CFL. Darren's taking the bet. Lions by 6.5. And then on Sunday, it is Ottawa, Toronto. The Argos are favored by 8. And I'm taking the bet, and Moose said he is not. So there's all your football stuff that's fit to print. Now, the other interesting thing, and again, I will, on behalf of Peter Maher, send his regards and mine, and we'll do it another day. We're here for 2 more weeks at Century Downs Racetrack and Casino. We got some big names coming down here next week in person. This is just a sign that it was going to be a video chat with Peter. We'll get him down here in person because everybody's excited to see him. We even got Allie in Texarkana in on the thing, and she didn't give a rip about football, particularly the CFL. She says, I hope they finally win, but I don't think it'll happen. Scott M. on the YouTube feed says, Cody's a game-time decision. He'll play, I bet. Leanne in Regina says, Cody played on one leg near the end of last season. Yep, and they still ran him out of town. I think it was actually for half the season. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, how lucky for those who get the Stamps jerseys. Why don't you come down to the watch party, Jeff, and put your money where your mouth is? How about that?
How about
you saving
that?
some of those Timbits for me? She says no. Ted in Red Deer says, will there be more people at the Shark Club than Commonwealth Stadium? How about that? Ted, you're dodging us and my invitation for you to come down here to Century Downs Racetrack and Casino. By the way, we are going to talk all hockey when we come back, so get ready for that when Serena Taylor joins us. I could not believe the fundraiser that they held there in Red Deer this week. The Battle of Alberta Classic, I believe they called it. Sports banquet, auction, and then a golf tournament the next day. I saw the photos from Tim Hunter, which, by the way, we got to get Tim Hunter down here. Guys that must follow on social media. He should be doing the Flame social media, Tim Hunter. He's all over the place. They raised over $700,000. That's a $700,000 for charity with the Battle of Alberta Classic. So I was hoping to talk with Peter Maher about that and the BOA. But we couldn't get him on today, but we did have Cam Moon last hour. And we'll talk more about it. So get all your questions and comments ready. I got some things that I want to get to next. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio Podcast, and YouTube Live.
up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersenshop.com.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Century Downs Racetrack and Casino presents the World Professional Chuck Wagon Association Finals. Be here when the wagons roll August 23rd to 27th. Single-day tickets and 5-day passes available at showpass.com. Century Downs, welcome to the winner's zone.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Welcome back, everybody. It's a fact. Jack, we're live from Century Downs Racetrack and Casino. Live harness racing Friday and Saturday nights. Give them a follow on their social media. It's very simple. At Century Downs. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and we'll see you here. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Peter Maher on the air, but we will next week or the week after. And then we gone. But obviously, I mentioned Peter's a mentor of mine. He helped me out a lot in the industry back in the day, and always enjoy chatting hockey with him. But you know what? She can chat hockey pretty well, too. Serena Taylor joins us. And by the way, why is it that you love Cam Moon so much, the voice of the Edmonton Oilers that was with us? Other than the obvious, but it seems unreasonably large obsession you have with Cam.
I know. I think probably when I first met him officially face-to-face last year, we just hit it off right away. And I'm like, I love this guy. And Oiler fans just stick together. There's just, once you're an Oiler fan, you're always an Oiler fan. As they say, once an Oiler, always an Oiler. So, yeah, I think we just, I don't know, Cam and I just have a lot of the same viewpoints on things, and I just adore him. He's great.
Here's the kind of guy, as if anybody didn't know what kind of guy Cam is, but he texted me and said, thanks for having me on. It was, not everybody does that. He genuinely was happy to be on.
Absolutely. And I love when you told him, like, we're out of time. And he was like, what? He gives the whole, the look on his face was basically my expression every day of, I don't get enough time on this show. And that's exactly the look on his face. I could have spoken to him for an hour, obviously, about the Oilers, like I did in Edmonton last year.
Well, he also said some other nice things that I'll tell you about later, but it's good. And it's good when you run into that, and it's not just that. You are not, unfortunately, going to be able to take in a Calgary Surge pro basketball game here in Calgary in your time. And the reason I would like you to see it is, and there's the Edmonton Stingers. They're doing great things up there. But the last game that I was at for the Surge, Winsport Arena, home of Hockey Canada, sold out. One of the players for the Calgary team gets on the mic and says, on the public address, I want to thank you all for coming out to the game. It means a lot to us that you would buy tickets to come watch us play.
Who says
Have you ever? Right?
That's amazing. That's how, I'm not going to say that's how every sport should be, because that's not the way it goes. But on a league like that, that's pretty new and it's trying to get its name out there, that's the kind of person you want representing your team and your league.
Thanks for coming out, everybody. Like, I don't even remember the last time I ever heard of that happening, let alone seeing it.
You didn't thank anybody that came out yesterday.
To what?
The show.
I wasn't even thinking about yesterday. I'm thinking about today.
One day at a time.
Yep. Hello. 902-518-3033. Whatever you'd like to talk about, folks, because clearly we can go on our own just fine. But the EMG Marketing text line is open. EMJ Marketing. Book the just right speaker for your event. Contact Joe at emjmarketing.com, 902-518-3033. I'll say this. Number one, Kirk in Toronto is watching on Game Plus television, as he does every day. Big Argos fan. And he says, hi, Rod. What's your view if Chad Kelly goes down? Are the Argos toast? Kirk, you're asking questions you know the answer to. What happened Friday night here in Calgary? Chad Kelly went down in the second quarter. Argos lost the game, never scored another point. So you know the answer to that. If Chad Kelly can't play, they're in a lot of trouble. So yes, the answer is that. Now, you said you could talk CFL, and it's fun. We watch the CFL in Florida too. But up here, you're a little more surrounded by it. Just Edmonton tonight, home to Winnipeg. The poll question at Kia for Kia Auto Group, as you know, is, does the losing streak end tonight? What are you voting, yes or no?
Sadly, I'm going to say no. I think when we watched Winnipeg last week, you saw shades of the Bombers from last year and the year before dominating. And if that's the kind of game it's going to be in Edmonton tonight, Edmonton's in a lot of trouble. Again, sadly.
We'll be watching. And I'd like to see the streak end, but as long as this goes on, there's no reason to think that it is going to end. Now, I wanted to mention, too, the fun stuff. It's fun doing a show from a casino every day. I think you would agree. There's action around here in the mornings. You know, wonderful staff here at Century Downs that brings coffee and donuts every day. Would you mind, please, relating the story from the nice cleaning lady? Was she asked you a question here during the show or before the show?
She asked me, like, kind of what I'm doing here. And I thought it's because she saw me doing some work in the stairwell where it's quiet on my laptop.
Doing your actual job.
Yeah, doing like my life big adult job instead of this. And so I kind of told her, and she was a little confused. And she's like, well, how come that man is always talking? And so I was explaining to her exactly what it is you do, and she's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, because we're in the back corner kind of, so you can usually hear us from the speaker, but you can't necessarily see what's going on. So she didn't know what was happening. Plus the fact you're always talking is probably what she was more concerned with.
Okay, so I'll just say this. I'm getting a little better on not being as defensive as I used to be. Agree or disagree?
Yes, you're doing great.
So he's always talking, that guy. Yeah, because that's his job. What if I said, you're always cleaning?
Well, but
that's her
probably,
job.
I think it's because she probably can hear you. She just can't see, because I saw her in the bathroom. Like, she can hear you, she just doesn't know, like, where it's coming from.
That guy over there, he's always cleaning. Yeah, and the cook's always cooking. Okay.
Yes, you're doing so much better at not getting offended.
Defensive, I said.
Whatever.
Jason Tatarnik writes in, live stream. Head coach of the Estevan Bruins says, Rod, the SJHL just around the corner. And from the Off the Hosel podcast says, hi, Rod, from Estevan Sass. So the Bruins are watching us down in their offices, by the way, which let's get serious again for a second, because we've covered a lot of football. And the Blue Jays, you're on top of that score. But this is a podcast. People will be watching this later. If they really cared about the Blue Jays, they would be watching it. Are you live? Are you getting the sense that hockey season, it ain't here? But for the hockey people, it is, because they're in the office now. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
It started.
Look how many friends and whatever else that we have that work for different teams all the way from Junior A up to the NHL. Yeah. There's a very little downtime. And as we talked about being surrounded by CFL information, we are always surrounded by hockey up here, which I wouldn't have it any other way. But until you're removed from it, and it's really interesting. I lived in California, obviously Hong Kong, and now Florida, you have no idea what's going on unless you go search for the information. So here, everybody's always on top of things, and I'm so glad that those guys are in the office getting geared up. You have to. You can't take time off. You got training camp coming up. Everybody's got to get dialed in. And look at the players. They don't get to take an off season like they used to. Back in the day, those guys, they weren't fit in the off season. Now there's no time off.
They use training camp to get fit. It's quite interesting how that's all changed. But I'll just say this. Lauren Mulliken, former head coach of the Chicago Blackhawks, assistant coach with the San Jose Sharks, Pittsburgh Penguins, and head coach in Saskatoon and Regina and Junior, said hockey season starts right after Buffalo Days, and that ended last week. That's the Regina Fair. So for the hockey people, the season started. And I do want to talk about the Flames. We didn't have that chance with Peter Maher last segment, but I'll ask you in a moment. But I thought it was interesting when Kelly Rudy came down here last week, and I said, when do you get started? And he's like, oh, not till October. And I'm like, lucky you. Kelly doesn't need to be at the sessions, the development camps. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The rookie tournament.
He did say, though, that he's had a very busy summer. I mean, I asked him how his summer was going. He said extremely busy. He was picking up his mom at the airport.
Yeah, but not with hockey.
No, but he still has to have his finger on the pulse, which by default, we all do up here anyway. So he's never laying off the gas. In his mind, the fact that he doesn't actually physically have to be at the rink until October, he's laying off the gas probably. And to the rest of the world, it looks like it, but you never do. You never do. Even Lanny's foot is always on the gas at hockey, and he doesn't even not even associated with it anymore.
I get what you're saying. We're all, like you say, we're all going to be following what's going on, but he's not at the rink every day like these guys. Like, Tatarnik writes in, he says, August 28th, we start, buddy. That's Junior A, Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. But Tarts has coached, I think, in 4 different Junior A leagues across the country. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, does Buffalo Days have chuck wagons? It used to, doesn't anymore. And Allie in Texarkana says, I like that Oilers shirt, Serena.
That's right. You should.
You wore that because it was a special day. Cam Moon was coming on.
I like to wear my Oiler gear around here anyway. In Calgary, by the way.
Yeah, what kind of comments are you getting on that?
None. Zero. I haven't had one person.
You used to?
Well, last year I did, which was all fun. But actually, somebody said something to me about it yesterday, but not really. I'm surprised more people don't say anything. I feel like if you walked around Edmonton with a C on your shirt, you would get a lot more verbally assaulted.
Yeah, but you're a very smart person. You know why that is.
I would say something.
Well, no. Here in Calgary, they know they can't say anything right now.
I would still. There's a guy at my gym in Boca who wears a Habs toque. I can't help myself.
Yeah, but my point is this. In Calgary, they know who's the better team, and they're not going to chirp.
I don't know. I'm loyal to my team, losing or not. I would still say
What
something.
I'm saying is the Flames are struggling right now.
I hear you, but...
Yeah. So a year ago, people weren't afraid to say things. Now they are. So what I'm asking is your take on the Calgary Flames right now and what you've sensed, because you've been here. This is your second week. Maybe you haven't sensed much at all. I mean, we're going to be with some Flames people this weekend. That might change. But they got a lot of proving to do of themselves in the market.
Do you know what the biggest problem was? They were all sitting here flapping their jaws in the first round of the playoffs last year going, I hope we get the Oilers in the second round. I hope the Oilers win so we can play. A, you barely got through the first round. B, Be careful what you wish for. And I've said this 15 times. I was the only person that picked the Oilers to beat the Flames. Everybody else picked the Flames. I would never, obviously. And all the people that were on your show talking about how the Flames are going to beat the Oilers, it was such a kick in the pants to them that they're eating crow now. They're hiding. What are you going to do? I would crawl under a rock, too, if I was talking like that and got bombed.
Is my point. A year later, they're not saying anything.
It wasn't even a year. It was the next day. They've shut up since then. It's true, though, right? Because they were all getting cocky. I was like, you guys wait and see. And now, ever since then, and then when that trade happened not long after that, and they thought, I thought the Flames won that trade. And then fast forward, it's pretty rough.
Are you sure that you're interested in getting back in this broadcasting game and opening that door? Because Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and says, Serena's trying to cause a riot. LOL. I'm like, no, that's just the way she is. But you might end up causing a riot, and I think you're okay with that.
I don't care.
Right.
It's fine. But as I've said to the couple of staunch Flames fans that I've met, you absolutely should be standing behind your team like that. I have mad respect for the Flames fans that hate the Oilers. They should.
Leanne in Regina, which is back to our #1 city for viewership, I'm proud to report.
Come on, Winnipeg, let's go.
Yeah, let's pick it up, Winnipeg. Calgary as well, but you're not helping that today. But Leanne in Regina writes in all caps, who wears a toque in Florida?
Good point. I think that's a great point, and I thought that a long time ago, but I see him wear it all the time. It's in the gym, I guess. I don't know. I'm going to ask him. I will ask and report back.
Honestly, surprisingly, more people wear toques than you'd think. There's all kinds of texts that are coming in, 902-518-3033, and they're interesting.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, exactly. On the EMJ marketing text line. So hang on, everybody. We got a sports update coming up. I'm going to keep talking. Yeah, you help yourself, bro. Yes, sir. We're on Game Plus Television, WQ, EE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Raj Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
We are back live at Century Downs Racetrack and Casino. We'll be here for a couple of more weeks until August 25th. That is right in the middle of the World Professional Chuck Wagon Association World Finals. Get your tickets at showpass.com. And I'll see you here. Serena will not, as she's headed back to the Sunshine State. So I've mentioned the texts. Not only are they coming into the EMJ marketing text line, but they're also coming into my personal phone. Dallas writes in and says, Serena is on fire, and she's right. Please don't encourage her. He's an Oilers fan, by the way.
There are, well, of course he is. There are guaranteed people out there, as we know, that do not think I'm right, and that always provides a little bit of flavor when I ruffle some feathers.
Let's hear from them, too.
I don't care. Absolutely. So it's all about.
Jersey Jim is watching on Game Plus television in New Jersey. He says, Rod, fans are jacked for the Hall of Fame game in the NFL because football's back, but nobody cares about the preseason. Maybe Game 3 of the preseason when the starters are in. There is news that you can use, and I'll get to that in a moment. I want to talk about the Leafs signing Martin Jones. And I also want your take on today's state of the media because, not right now, we'll get to it, but there was a headline that said, Leafs at Yahoo, by the way. Let's throw yahoo.com under the bus. The headline was, Leafs sign NHL's worst goalie over the last 5 years. What the hell is wrong with you people? Martin Jones is a tremendous goaltender, right from here. Played for the Hitmen, and he's been in San Jose, a team that was one of the worst teams in the NHL over the last 5 years. He's not entirely been with them. We'll get to that. But Brian in Beausejour, Manitoba writes in and says, by the way, how did you two meet?
We're shifting gears completely. I was ready to fire up about social media.
Well, welcome to life.
Like 20 years ago, I guess. I was working in radio in Swift Current. Rod was doing the Pats games. I was going to be in Saskatoon for some bizarre reason. I forget why I was going to be in Saskatoon for that weekend.
November 29th, 2003.
Good memory. I think I was doing the Legionnaires games, the midget AAA Legionnaires. And so I was going to be in Saskatoon, and we just happened to speak on the phone, I guess, about me doing color with you for the games. And so we just hooked up, and that was the first time we actually officially met, was at the rink in Saskatoon, and I did that Pats game with you that night.
November 29th, 2003. She said, can I do a game with you? And I said, yeah, why not? We'd never met before. And then halfway through the game, I said what?
That I have a good memory. Is that where you were going with that?
Yeah, exactly.
I said something about Philip Novak, who used to be a defenseman for the Pats, and Rod looked me dead in the face, goes, you have a good memory. I'm like, I actually do. I remember players that played SJ, Western League, everything for years ago.
It's a little too good, but that's a topic for another time. Brian writes in 902 line, and he says, I'll have to agree with Serena. She needs more segments on the RP show. Cannot get enough of that special person. So there you go. The ego stroke. Now, to the media thing, you understand why I would be upset. I know I get defensive when it comes to goalies. Leafs sign worst goalie over the last 5. Why would you say that?
Here's what I don't understand. You and I worked in the media 20 years ago. We would have been fired for voicing our opinions like that. I got into a lot of trouble a couple different times for voicing my opinion when I would do color with the I don't know, Brandon would come to town and I would do color and I would hurt somebody's feelings. Their parents would get upset because I said that their kid wasn't performing on the ice, blah, 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 blah. I said, basically, said one time their child wasn't performing and it got back to me because the parents were upset. Are you freaking kidding me? And now somebody's allowed now in this woke world where everybody gets offended by everything to go out there and say, this is the worst goaltender in the National Hockey League, and can you believe the Leafs signed him? Why would you say something like that? Just lost all credibility with me.
Yeah, somebody said, and if he's watching right now, it was Glenn in Medicine Hat, who's an old newspaper guy, and he's also a golf guy and a hockey guy. And he said, do you think, he'd heard this theory, that because of all the bloodshed in the media and the sports people getting whacked, that the news people are now covering sports, that the left woke news people are covering sports, and that's where those headlines come from, and that angle. I don't know if that's the case, but he asked.
What an interesting concept, because I think that's what's happening in Florida. I think that they don't have enough guys. We talked yesterday about how they don't have a lot of people covering the Panthers, and I think you're absolutely right. Like you said, at Game 3, you were at the Stanley Cup, and I was Game 4. There's guys up there talking about different things completely unrelated to hockey, and I'm like, why am I the only person actually watching this game?
Yeah.
These are the
guys voting on the awards.
Don't get me started on that. But I think he's probably right. And listen, anybody in this country can generally hold their own. I don't care what sport you cover. You generally have enough knowledge about hockey. It's not the same down there. It's different. He's probably right.
Ryan, watching in Toronto, says, kudos to director Jordan on that camera switching today. Loving the show. Didn't he do a nice job?
I'll tell you what, you guys back there, Clark and Jordan, it was amazing. It was perfect.
Ta-da!
It's not the gong, it's the bell, because that was fantastic. It went off without a hitch. Rod was changing microphone volumes because we do have a speaker here that creates a little bit of feedback, and there's music going and whatever. That couldn't have been, that was a first time one-off. It couldn't have been better.
Teamwork makes the dream work, y'all. Zach in Calgary writes in and says, hey, Jack, you got to get down here, by the way. He comes to all our live performances, but he hasn't come to Century Downs yet. Don't tell me you're working. Having a job is no excuse. Doesn't stop all the others from coming down here.
No, or be on the freeway at 4 in the afternoon. What?
Zach says, I think Martin Jones is, he says, I think Martin Jones is a good goalie. He's probably the third stringer under Ilya Samsonov and Joseph Wall. No, not only did he play for the Hitmen, but I believe he's a Calgary kid. And Ryan in New York says, unfortunately, if it bleeds or if it's negative, it leads and gets the most clicks. I get that, but I didn't click on the story because I know enough about the National Hockey League and Martin Jones that he deserves better than that. I didn't click on the story. Why would you dump on the Leafs? There's enough reasons to dump on the Leafs. You don't got to make that up.
If you're Martin Jones, though, and you're going in to play in Toronto, wouldn't you rather have people think that you suck?
Sets the bar low.
Quick question, though. Was it yahoo.com or was it yahoo.ca?
It was .ca.
See the difference?
There's a big difference.
There is a big difference. But it's even more appalling that it was a Canadian that wrote that.
Yep.
Shame on you.
David in Winnipeg writes in and says, Serena seems like the kind of girl to throw fists in a bar if someone says the wrong thing to her. And I'm here for it.
I had the nickname Two Punch for a while. Two Punch. That girl looks like she could take a punch, and somebody else said she looks like she could take two. Two Punch.
That won't be sticking. I like Golden Girl better.
It's terrible.
Kevin the Medium says they wear toques. And Serena says it's cold at 26 Celsius out. I'm so confused. He's saying they wear toques in Florida, yet you're cold here. It makes no sense.
I am cold here. There was a couple days where it was absolutely freezing. And actually, some mornings were nice, but was it last year, I think, when I was here, it was warm all night. Like, there was no cold nights like there is this year. It was warm all the time.
The night at Moraine Lake?
Yeah, Moraine Lake, we slept with the doors open, and there's people out gallivanting all night. It was
2 a.m.
Couldn't cool off.
We're old. We go to bed early.
Yeah.
Scott from the audience says carnies at the fair wear toques in plus 30 degrees weather. LOL. That's the point. It's a fashion statement. It's not about keeping your head warm. Clearly.
I think he probably just wears a toque in the gym. Maybe he has a little bit longer hair and he doesn't want to keep it in his eyes. I have absolutely no idea, but I promise you guys, I will ask.
Maybe he wants to just rep the Montreal Canadiens.
Well,
have we thought about that?
Of course, but at the end of the day, there's only so much. I don't wear this shirt in Florida. It's too thick.
She's got other outerwear. We'll come back with a sports update and overtime. So it's your one last chance to get your questions and comments in. EMJ Marketing text line 902-518-3033 or the chat stream. It's the most interactive show on television. It's the RP Show on Game Plus TV, live from Century Downs Racetrack and Casino. Also WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Century Downs Racetrack and Casino presents the World Professional Chuck Wagon Association Finals. Be here when the wagons roll August 23rd to 27th. Single-day tickets and 5-day passes available at showpass.com. Century Downs, welcome to the winner's zone.
Okay, we're back for overtime for the Four Seasons Sports Palace, your home for the UFC and the National Hockey League. And just hang on, we have another interesting topic coming up. But first, a sports update. The Indianapolis Colts announcing today they'll start rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson in Saturday's preseason opener at Buffalo, the team announced. Richardson was the 4th overall pick at April's NFL draft. He's been working primarily with the ones over the past week and has shown glimpses of the raw talent that intrigued the team. He's been battling veteran Gardner Minshew for the #1 spot in training camp. And Placeline, Spartanburg, South Carolina. The second day of the joint practices between the New York Jets and Carolina Panthers at Wofford College was canceled today due to lightning and rain in the area. The joint practice will not be rescheduled. The Jets and Panthers will meet Saturday in a preseason game at Bank of America in Charlotte, North Carolina. Home of, if I may, Serena Dawn, the greatest barbecue restaurant we've ever been in our life.
Hands down, the greatest barbecue restaurant in the world.
What was it? Midwood Smokehouse.
Yes, we went 3 out of 4 nights.
Which is a wonderful segue, by the way. Landmark Cinemas brings you the sports update. In theaters now, Meg 2, The Trench. Meg 2 is a science fiction film based on the 1999 book The Trench by Steve Allen, starring Jason Statham as rescue diver Jonas Taylor in his encounter with a 75-foot-long megalodon shark. Meg 2 in Landmark Cinemas now. From the text line, Wilf in Steinbach, Manitoba, watching on Game Plus television, he says, "Hi, Rod, I liked Cody Fajardo, but never felt he would win a Grey Cup. Cody should be ready to run against the Riders' pressure. Rough Riders by a touchdown." That's for Friday night's game. We were in Midwood Smokehouse, Charlotte, North Carolina, a month ago. CFL game's on. Cody Fajardo. You see that I think that I'm tying this all together. Your little cousin Oakland said the other day, what is he, 6?
I think he's 6, yeah, 5 or 6.
Big soccer guy. He goes, "I cheer for players, not teams." Can you attest to Cody Fajardo, now Montreal's quarterback, who had been with Sask? When he's on the TV, it's stop. Whether he's being interviewed, playing, the world stops for me to watch my Cody. That's how much I love the guy, and we've got a special relationship. Are you that way?
No, I definitely have my teams. Like I was born an Oiler fan, and I will always have that. But I understand the concept because you don't necessarily have a specific hockey team that you cheer for. You're more of a player guy. So I understand that concept. And Oakland's bedroom is painted like the Argentinian flag. And he has all the flags of the World Cup teams around. The kid is obsessed. But I'm definitely not that person. If someone's gone from my team, as we know, which we're not going to get into, but yeah, I'm a team person. But I do support if I like a player, like when the Blue Jays traded Kevin Pillar, followed him. I like Bautista, all those guys. So yeah.
Yeah, it works out a lot better for me to be a player fan as opposed to a team. And it's interesting. August 9th, 1988. Yesterday was the anniversary, if I may, 25 years, 35, bad at math here, 35 years of the Gretzky trade. We were out for supper last night. It was on the screen, and I said, "Hey, the 30 for 30 documentary's on." You wouldn't even look at the screen.
I won't even glance at it. When first of all, I've never watched that 30 for 30, and everybody's like, "You should really watch it. It's really good." Why would I want to relive the worst moment of my entire life? Why would I want to relive that? Are you people, do you not know me? And I remember when 30 for 30, when they first came out with that, I was living in California. I was on my way to play volleyball. My phone starts blowing up. My cousin's texting me F-bombs about Peter Pocklington. My dad calls. I'm like, "What happened?" Of course, it came out, and they watched it, and they were triggered all again. I'm like, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I won't even look at it. I don't want to talk about it. I'm over it.
Yeah, well, that was the last day that I ever cheered for the Edmonton Oilers. And I was in high school, hence cementing that I'm a player guy, not a team guy. Right? So I don't know that there's a right or a wrong answer for that.
There's not one person on this planet who loves Wayne more than I do. There's just not. And I didn't change my loyalties. I can't. I'm an Oiler fan.
Well, you could. It's a choice that you made.
It's ingrained in me.
Allie, watching in Texas, she says, "I do both. My stars come first, but there are certain players that I love. And that's another interesting thing. I would hope over the next couple weeks we can get Theoren Fleury down here to Century Downs. I'll be hosting his golf tournament August 17th for the Breaking Free Foundation. Breaking Free Foundation provides free counseling for trauma victims. That's Theron's foundation that he founded, and Colin Pedersen sits on the board. And I find it interesting. Now that you've been around Calgary enough, and it's not just this summer, the last couple, they love Theoren here. He gets a lot of guff, but he is loved.
He should be.
He should be, exactly. I mean, his social media presence aside and the things that he says about the Prime Minister, he has his own reasons for doing that. But it is nice to see how much they love Theoren in this town.
They should. Obviously, I wasn't a Theo fan growing up. I despise the Flames and everything about them. But I admire him as a human being now. Again, I don't necessarily have to agree with everything he says, but everything that he's been through and what he's done with his life, I admire that to the end. Absolutely.
So we've got some exciting people coming down next week. We'll tell you about that probably more tomorrow, but now would be the time to tell you that we've got Jock Wilson coming down tomorrow, the iconic Calgary broadcaster and the host of Stampeders broadcasts on CHQR 770. QR Calgary is part of a Football Friday, and Jim Barker's going to be with us as well from the CFL on TSN. But that's it for today. Thank you, Serena.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Cam Moon. Peter Maher. We'll do it in person down the line. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you at noon Eastern, 10 a.m. Mountain tomorrow for a Football Friday, a CFL game day here from Century Downs Racetrack and Casino on Game Plus, Key Radio, and YouTube Live.
Who has more fun than us?